Hi everyone, I'm Bindu Bhatia. I'm the MD and founder of a company called NeuCode Talent Academy. I've spent around 20 years into the space of learning and development and have worked for some lovely companies like GE, Accenture, EMC. And it was only 3 years ago when I started my own company, and this is all thanks to neuro-linguistic programming. And the picture that you see on this slide is a very special picture. This was the last day of my course, and when I was undergoing my own NLP journey. And one thing that dawned on me after this entire journey was this one message: it's all in our mind. And from there was no stopping. I realized we have been using NLP unconsciously before as well, but really learning some specific techniques can add a lot more power. So today I am going to just talk about what is NLP, how it works. I'm sure there are thousands of videos out there, but I wanted to make my own because I'm very passionate, one, and second, I've experienced NLP in my life, and I would like to give you some examples how it helped me. So let's move on and begin the journey. This is module one, and what is this guy doing? If you look at it, he's just sitting outside the swimming pool reading a book about how to swim. Do you think the moment he enters into the pool, he'll be the master, the champ? No, how much good book you can read about learning to swim, but unless you take that dip, unless you practice those techniques, don't take that risk. So you can master anything in life by taking that dip in the pool. And why I'm saying that right now is because NLP is exactly the same thing. Unless you experience it, unless you do it on your own, the real magic of NLP can't be realized. So today in this video, this is just the first para of the book, something that you must know about NLP, and then maybe you can decide how you want to go about learning it. Yep. So if I move on, let me just start with a brief history. And the brief history is not about the boring names and the neuroscience. No, I'm not going to cover all of that. But yes, I would definitely want to talk about the origin of neuro-linguistic programming and a very interesting story of these two gentlemen. The one on the left side is Richard Bandler, and the other one is John Grinder. These are the people who founded NLP in its core. And just to give you a quick background around how they started, Richard Bandler was just 20 years old. He was studying in the university in California and was doing his course in psychology. He was very interested about how brain works, how people behave. And then there was an associate professor there in his late 20s. His name was John Grinder. And this guy, John, was the associate professor in the subject of linguistics. So they became friends and they started discussing different aspects of psychology and how coaching happens. And in those days, which is, I'm talking about 1970s, there were some coaches who were extraordinarily effective. Now, to name them, these are the people like Pearl, Satire. Then they also were very, inquisitive about how Gestalt therapy works. And then they were inspired by the work of Milton Erickson. And all of this together, they decided to get together and start studying what makes these people so effective. Now, talking about effectiveness, in those days, therapies, coaching sessions would go on for months and months, even to, drop off some kind of a fear or some phobia. To get rid of it, it would take like months and months of work. But these particular, some of the therapists were extraordinarily special. They were able to resolve things and create a wow experience for their clients in just one meeting, in just a matter of few hours. And that is what intrigued Richard and John to see what is the magic that they're doing. And that's when, when they went to interview these people, they knew that they're doing some good work. They knew they were able to give some information, but they were not able to put it in words as exactly what is it that is creating that magic. And hence Richard and John decided to do something that we all do unconsciously, which is called modeling. But they did modeling in a very, very different way, by studying and observing the words that these people are using, the questions they are asking, how their voice tones are changing, the body posture, physiology, how is it getting impacted by the kind of words these people are using, and what is the body posture of the coach when they are listening out to someone talking, and how the coaches really were structuring their languages, and what were those language patterns that were actually creating the wow moments. Now, these are the observations that they made after studying thousands of scriptures, thousands of, scripts, sorry, and a lot of recordings, by personally observing certain sessions. And that's when they realized, you know what, we've captured the formula. And what is the formula? That our neurology is impacted by what and how we speak. It could be internal, it could be external, but what and how we speak, and thus can be reprogrammed using some specific language patterns. And that's where, neuro, linguistic, and how you can combine these two, make them work together and reprogram your entire being. So NLP came into being as a set of all these techniques, and that these two people have done wonders for thousands and millions of people in the world, because they just set it out. They just gave it to people to experiment. They started their own coaching using these methodologies, and people claim that within 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they were able to get rid of their long phobias, that they have been struggling with some 10, 15 years, and there were some miracles reported. And there was an instant pushback from the behavioral psychology, or the psychologists that existed there, and said, no, that's not possible. And they started questioning NLP itself, and that's when the rift started. But these two gentlemen, who were very, very convinced, and they knew that impact is the true proof of the pudding, they just remained unperturbed and started developing their own community. And that's when, the new people came in, like Sue Knight and a lot of other people who added a lot more techniques, tools, by modeling some other coaches and modeling some other people. And they realized that NLP has no realm. It can be ever flourishing, and it can really impact a lot of people's life. The only thing that we need is to understand how language can impact your neurology and how to use certain techniques. So that's the whole background or history about NLP. There are some people who believe in it, some people who don't. So I'm assuming that since you are here, you are the one who believes in it. But that's true for everything else in life as well, right? We believe in certain things, we don't believe in certain things. If you believe in it, let's move ahead. Again, just to give you a quick overview of what neuro-linguistic programming is, it's if in simple words I were to tell you, it's about applied neuroscience. So neuroscience took a very different turn when fMRIs came into play. And using these fMRI reports, it was getting proven how NLP techniques are impacting the brain. And how I would define NLP is that NLP is applied neuroscience. Some things that you can reprogram in your mind create new neural connections fairly quickly. Some of your bottlenecks in life, some of your fears, traumas, in your life, you can just get rid of them in few minutes. Can you believe that? So that's the power of NLP. And neuro, of course, stands for neurons or your connections. Linguistics stands for language, and how we can use language to reprogram your brain is about programming. And programming in C++ and Java is very difficult. Programming in brain, you will be very amazed. It is so easy. And once you identify that, like I have, it's just amazing how you can experience it in every part of your life. You can implement NLP and feel you're using the entire brain power of yours to achieve what you want to achieve. So let's move on. If this much is clear, then the next part that we're going to talk about is, let's experience NLP. Let's experience it. Let me give you some logical explanation of what is NLP. Now, if you look at this image, what comes to your mind? What's happening to you? Just take 10 seconds and look at this image very closely and observe what's happening in your body. I'm sure this image is, for some people, bringing some water in the mouth. For some people, the color itself is very, very appealing. For some people, just experience some changes in your body patterns. And let me just show you something else. If I were to ask you a question, have you ever cried watching a movie? And don't lie to yourself, because this is just a one-way video. But tell me, if you've ever cried watching a movie, if you've ever cried watching the same movie again, when you know it's not true, when you know what's going to happen, even then, have you ever cried watching a movie? Or when you're playing some video game or some kind of game, do you feel that adrenaline rush in your brain? These kind of expressions that you see here. I mean, I'm sure all of us have been through all of this. And what does this tells you about brain? The first and foremost lesson that you need to learn, and all of us need to learn about brain, is that our brain is utter stupid. It is buddhu. It's the word in Hindi. And why we are saying that is because brain is just an idiot box. It's a machine, right? So through our senses, information enter into this machine. The information is translated, and then the point is that brain doesn't understand the difference between imagination or reality. If you allow yourself into that picture, into that dialogue, or into that sense, if you allow yourself, whatever the brain is witnessing through those senses, it will start instructing the body to react in that particular way. It will pull out some of your previous nodes, memory nodes, we call it. So it can pull out those memory nodes, and with each memory, you will have the same visual, same auditory, same feelings attached, and you will feel that in your body. So it's as simple as that. It's not a brain's fault if you are feeling low. It could be that you yourself ordered your brain to pull up that memory from the repository. So you should be actually happy that your brain is working fine and it is able to retrieve that memory and give you all the memory. So what are we talking about? The memory in a computer. Memory is stored as a 0 and 1, right? We all know that. But in brain memory, each memory is stored with images, sounds, and feelings. So the only mechanism in which brain works is to pull out the memory, and with that memory, if that comes in the conscious brain, then it starts giving you those visuals, those audios, and those feelings. So that's how it works. Sometimes internal, sometimes external. You're looking at a movie, and you make your brain, you allow your brain to get into the movie and feel like a protagonist or whoever you want to align to, whichever character, and you'll start feeling like that. So that's one lesson you need to learn about brain, that it cannot differentiate between imagination or reality. The second part is the brain informs your body to react basis your own commands, whatever you are telling or allowing your brain to work on. And there is nobody else. You allow someone to tell you that you are stupid, then your brain will say, I captain, I'm stupid. You remember, the brain doesn't know whether it's good or bad for you. It just knows that you are telling it, so it has to say yes. So the question is, why would we at times allow external people to have that kind of impact on us? Can we stop that? Or can we actually take the goodness in the world inside us and tell some good things about us to the brain? So those are some just food of thoughts, and but at the same time, learn the power of commands. Let's just double click on this command and see what we mean by commands. So this is what you need to do. Take your pen and papers and start writing answers to this. What do you tell yourself during challenging times? What do you tell yourself when you are just about to take the stage for a very, very crucial presentation and there are hundreds of people there listening to you? What do you tell yourself when, if you're working, then your boss is irritating you with your lot of follow-up calls, or when your parents are like continuously nagging you, or your spouse is nagging you? What do you tell yourself? And what do you tell yourself when someone is shouting at you? What do you do when someone close is lying to you? What do you tell yourself? And these are all the things that you tell yourself here. And what happens? If you remember just few minutes ago, when you tell these things to yourself, your brain says, I captain, and it starts telling your body to react that way. So what do you tell yourself in challenging times? For example, I remember my dad's words, you are a strong girl, I have full confidence in you. And I remember that those words are just change my entire physiology. I'm more ready to face the challenging times. But I've also seen some people who in the challenging times start with the internal dialogue of, oh, why not again? Why does this happen always to me? And you know what? These are the commands to your brain. And what will brain pick up from these sentences? Why does this happen to me? So it will make you start feeling victim. It'll give you all those, it'll start creating those hormones, those chemicals that'll make you feel down, dull, and will, just take away all the energy to take action in the times of challenge. So what we mean in this slide and what you need to understand is the commands, the internal commands or external commands that you give to your brain are very important. So be aware of what you are telling yourself. Be aware of your self-talk, of your internal dialogue. Half of the problems get sorted only there. So, if you're not planning to attend NLP, but you're just watching this video, then for next 1 week, if you want to get some flavor out of NLP, all you need to do is just keep a little consciousness around what are you telling yourself. For next 1 week, do that and you will know what are you telling yourself in those critical situations, or when you're sitting idle, or in these situations that are there. You will get some answers. The beauty is, if you change these commands, your reactions also change, because you are commanding the brain to now elicit some different emotions. So that's about commands. But now again, my question to all of you who are listening is that, where do these commands come from? Are they on autopilot? Or do you really think at that moment and say this to yourself? The answer to this, and I'm sure all of you will agree with me, these commands are on autopilot. These are already programmed in your mind. So whenever you are into a difficult situation or a great situation or any kind of situation, your brain already has a list of commands. Now, another question to ponder on is that if these are the commands that are already programmed, where did they come from? And that's what is our next slide all about. These commands are basis our own translations and pre-programming that happened in our life. Now, these pre-programmings can happen through, the stories that we have heard or we have seen even now. I mean, translations that we make out of whatever we are going through, those translations are nothing, but they define the commands that we give to our brain. Now I'm going to show you a little gross picture here, and that is a cockroach. And I want to show you this because when I was a child, I used to see my mom really shrieking out loud looking at the cockroach. And, I looked at that. This was my sense. And I looked at that whole thing. Because my mom was scared, I translated in my mind that cockroaches are the most dangerous insects or whatever species it is of the world. And it was only a few years ago when I met someone, happened to be my husband, who says, "Hey, you were scared of cockroach? Cockroaches are so cute. They have those little antennas and they keep working, and it's so cute to see them." And I'm like, "Oh my God, somebody finds cockroaches cute?" And now when I look at a cockroach, I remember my husband. I'm sorry, that's how the reprogramming happened, but I kind of smile. And that's what happens at times, unknowingly, unconsciously. We just change the translations. Maybe, I went back and I realized, oh, that was my mom getting scared, not I have to do it for. So sometimes, what happens is that when you recall how this command comes, what is the incident or event or what is it that you saw which made you translate this stuff, sometimes just awareness itself creates a lot of changes in your own programming. So let me just give you a quick example. So for example, if you have as a child seen your parents fighting, how did you translate that? There is a child who can translate it saying that, oh my God, relationships are bad, I'm never ever going to trust anyone. But there's another child who's witnessing the same thing and they're translating it saying that, you know what, I'm going to find a partner who's understanding and I'm never going to talk like that to someone. I'm going to maintain the respect and the trust. Now, do you think these two children will have the same life? Even if they were twins and they were watching the same parents, same thing, translations make a lot of difference. Yeah. Then we move on to some teachers, some people who are authority figures in our life. They can translate some good things, and through their experiences, how we translate it, our own being. A teacher saying, hey, she's very weak in maths, her logical capability is really bad. Some of my teachers did that to me, and for so many years, my mind, I just accepted, yeah, I'm weak in maths, and then I just could not do it because you know what, my brain said, aye, captain, you are weak in maths, I'm not going to utilize that part. And today I'm not that weak, I'm a little better. But then I'm saying how these labels impact, right? So how our brain listens to everything that is said to us. Sometimes child abuse, sometimes some bashing or some experience in the office can make us make these translations. These translations can be our values, they can become our beliefs, they can become our, just simple generalizations, simple unconscious biases. And so it is very important to see how our translations are turning into the commands that we are giving, and how these commands in our brain or the self-talk that we are doing impacting our life. While I've given you all the negative examples out here, but there are a lot of positive examples too. I'm sure you have been through some positive things in your life where you translated some things very nicely, that is giving you all the power to do what you are doing today. So that's something about the commands and how they come from our translations. But one thing that you also need to remember is that as a child, when the neocortex, which is our logical brain, is not fully developed, which is from around 2 to 6 years of age, what happens is whatever child is like a sponge. So whatever is happening around them, getting scared of the cockroach or witnessing some event, all of that is directly stored in the subconscious mind, in the unconscious mind. I'm not going to answer what's the difference between subconscious and conscious. Go read it in the Google. But it is stored somewhere. And that is the place from where, the child also stores a translation of that memory. And these translations can be made by the child himself, or you as a parent or a teacher can change these translations. So, what we say is that a child went through a bad experience. That itself is not that bad. It's, you can change that bad experience into their strengths if you as a counselor, teacher, parent can talk it out with the child and really elicit how the child has translated this experience and change it right then and there. Now, when we grow up, somewhere these translations are kept in our mind, in our subconscious, and based on these unconscious translations, we command our brains to take decisions, to problem solve, to build relationships the way we are today, the way our relationships are impacted. These are all based on how we translated some of our experiences in the past. You cannot go ahead and blame your past why it happened. All you can do is that, what, this happened, I translated it like that, and NLP can help you change those translations. NLP can actually identify why you are behaving the way you are behaving and really get to that memory node and set it right. So that's the power of NLP that I was talking about. And let's move on. Now, when we grow up, what happens? And I was talking about the fact that from 2 to 6 years or 7 years of age is when a child translates and directly it goes to subconscious. But as the child is growing up and as we as adults, our neocortex is fully developed. And we ask a lot of questions. We are very curious. We don't let everybody tell us everything, and everything doesn't directly go to subconscious. Our logical brain helps us do that filter, what we want to take in and make a change to, and what we don't. And subconscious also plays a big role, whether it wants you to make that change or not. So that is another space in which, adults need a lot of NLP. Adults, by adults mean anybody who's over the age of 11, 12 years, when your neocortex is fully developed. So it is important that you go through these kind of programs and understand how you can reprogram these translations. And there is no age. I have trained 80-year-olds on neuro-linguistic programming, and they found a change. They found advantages. It's all about you allowing yourself to that change. So I'm going to quickly pull up this slide. Just read through these few points that I've talked about. And then we move on to the next. This is just a quick summary slide for you to, and you can pause the video and read it. So I'm going to move ahead. What is the role of neuro-linguistic programming in your life? In the personal life or professional life, for example, what if you know in advance whether you will achieve your goal or not? How beautiful it would be. You can capture your own success formula, which is, by the way, very different for different people. And this is a part of NLP, which a lot of people in the sports, in specific goals that they want to achieve, they use already. There are people in Bollywood who use this, there are people in politics who use this. So to just capture your own success formula, the most powerful tool that you can come across. And then you have utmost clarity on the goals, vision, values. Although conscious mind will tell you, oh, I need this, but NLP works with your subconscious mind to be in alignment. Sometimes we want to be very, very rich, but our subconscious mind doesn't allow us to do that, because there is one translation that money is not good. And that is the cleanup process that NLP does for you, wherein it gets your subconscious mind aligned with your conscious goals. So I'm just putting up some more of the benefits in the professional life. You get into the state, you can get your anchors in the body. Whenever you want to feel confident, you can, in few minutes, you can get into a state of confidence that you would have never ever experienced. You can program yourself to get into a state of creativity. I wrote a full book using this anchoring technique. So mood didn't, it didn't matter whether I'm in a mood to write or not. I just have to elicit that state and get started. So that's the magic. That's the NLP. Also, in the professional place, it also gives you that fire. It just puts some fire in you to just go ahead, get ready, and do stuff. So that's in the professional space. But in personal space, which is also something that impacts our professional space, these are few things. Some of the effect of the bad memories that we have, some incidents in our life that we are not able to get over with, get rid of some bad habits, smoking or other bad habits that you might have. NLP is a good technique. It can help people get rid of it, get rid of your fears, your limiting beliefs, how to resolve your interpersonal conflicts, forgive people, let go of things. It can help you change your reactions to specific triggers that you identify. It helps you in making the right decisions in your life whenever you are in a dilemma. And obviously, it helps you cure your fears and phobias and some mild to minor diseases also. I'm sure you have uh, heard about psychosomatic reasons for certain things like high blood pressure, uh, thyroid, and PCOD, and even cancer. So it helps you deal with some of the stuff. It's mid to mild diseases, and bring down the symptoms, because most likely it's what you tell yourself that impacts your body as well. So this is again just tip of the iceberg, what you can do with NLP. And I'm not kidding. I have experienced NLP in my life. And today I'm living a dream life. I'm not scared or ashamed of saying that. Of course, why should I? I'm living a dream life with a great house, awesome family, and with a lot of security in my mind. Not only financial, but very peaceful and calmness that I feel in my mind is something that I owe to NLP. And today I'm standing here doing this session. That's the only way for me to be grateful and giving back. Even if I can impact few people, it's fine. But my objective is to reach out to as many of you as possible and really equip people with that mental bandwidth to, win the world. And win the world, not literally, but you know what I mean. So that's the power of NLP we're talking about. And remember, language patterns that we use play a big role. Some facts that you must know about NLP are: one, NLP tools and techniques are very personal in nature. When you attend my NLP workshops, please don't expect that I will be sharing with you some glossy PowerPoint like this one and really talking about some concepts and stuff. No, we're directly diving down into what is troubling you. So it's more like, personal, so we use the tools and techniques on ourselves. We become the subjects of this. So when you join NLP and when you leave becoming NLP practitioner, you will, in those 5 days, you will experience that you already, on the fifth day, I have seen people saying, Bindu, I can't even recall if I have a challenge in life. And they're like, now, you know what, Bindu, I don't want to hear you anymore. I just want to go back to my real life and implement whatever I'm geared out to. And that's very heartwarming for me. I've seen people transforming in last few years. The ones who went through these sessions, they are just raving, and it's just amazing to see their journey. So yes, when you enter into the session, please be ready. It is personal in nature. And the methodologies that we use, it taps into your subconscious mind, because you remember we were talking about commands, we were talking about translations. Now these are the translations that are into your subconscious mind. And that's why the process, the techniques have some of the ingredients where you have to tap into your own subconscious mind. And sometimes some tools will work for you, some tools will not. So there have been some tools that didn't work for me, but the good news is that for the same thing, NLP has like 3, 4, 5, 10 different tools. So if this doesn't work, something else will work. So don't expect that everything that we do in the course will work for you, but learn that for sure, because it can help others that you plan to coach or counsel or do therapy for. So next thing that you need to know about NLP is that it tends to bring you very closer to your subconscious. So it feels like you're getting into some kind of a spiritual zone, because you feel that utmost peace or consciousness, and not everyone is ready for it. So if you think that you are a very logical person in nature and you're expecting that in the session you will have all the logics and a lot of questions, and I would still insist that please give in to the process. Don't ask too many questions, but just because asking too many questions means making your conscious mind active, and that conscious mind is not going to let the information in. So when you join the session, come with a very open mindset. And it's a journey. I will be there forever whenever you need me, and I have a whole there are 21 plus coaches who are there to help. So don't worry about it. If something is open, we will ensure that we're there with you. Our intent is to make a change. And if your intent is the same for yourself, then all the very best. And I hope that you meet me soon, call me, or go to our website, check out what are the programs available. And please subscribe and like our channel for more such videos. I hope you liked it. Share it with your friends if you think they will be interested as well. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and see you soon.